I'm sitting here on my break at these people's job, and I'm just thinking, I spend more time at this job than I do with my kids. I spend more time at this job than I spend with my kids, man. And you know, the owner, the president, and the CEO, whatever, of this company that I work for, they spend more time with their kids than they do at this company. They don't even do no walkthrough. They don't even walk through and shake nobody's hand or congratulate nobody or thank nobody or nothing. They don't care. They on the yacht somewhere in the middle of the ocean with their family. While me and hundreds of other people are in here keeping their company afloat. So essentially, I'm spending less time with my kids and more time at work to enable the owners of this company to spend more time with their kids and less time at work. Ain't that crazy? I'm smarter than that. I'm smarter than that. This shit gonna stop. This shit stops. This shit gonna stop.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to do a quick video, and I do apologize about the way that my camera looked because I left my actual camera at the studio, but I wanted to get this off my mind, and I guess I'm just going to have to do it through this laptop camera. But anyway, man, thank you for coming back to streams. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, all that shit before I even get into it. If you didn't hear what he just said or didn't understand what he just said for any reason, basically what he's saying is that he had the realization that he doesn't get a chance to really spend any time with his kids because all of his time is devoted to the grind, his job, making a dollar for his family. And I think every man comes to this realization at some point. I did a video a few weeks back where I was talking about how millennial fathers, the current generation of fathers, are spending more time, like way more time with their kids than our fathers spent with us. Is case per case. Everybody has their own story. My father spent a whole lot of time with me. I didn't have the traditional sort of dynamic in my household. So I was with my dad all the time. Every day I would ride around with him or be in the house with him or something. But on average, especially back then, especially if we go back 2 generations, fathers really are not with the kids. It's the mother that's doing all that shit because typically, in traditional America, the mother is the stay-at-home parent and they're doing the cooking, the house clean, not cleaning, but the house making. They're homemakers and they do the child rearing and they even do helping with homework and all of that sort of things, while the father is pretty much just sort of like the warden of the house and he'll just go make a paycheck, come home, and he'll go back to work, And I think this generation, we're not really satisfied with that sort of thing because we're not really the same sort of men in a lot of good ways and in a lot of bad ways. A lot of the masculinity that we had, a lot of the testosterone, it's a fact that men have less testosterone than they used to, but things have also changed for the better because we're a little more civilized. We're not getting drunk. We're a little more integrated into the family dynamic now, and we're not so on the fringes of things like we used to be as men. So now I don't think this sort of thing is acceptable for our generation. We want to see our kids, you know what I'm saying? A lot of us. I don't have the statistics in front of me. I don't really care too much about statistics all the time. But I did read something that said something about black fatherhood, where the current generation of black fathers are way more involved. There are less single mothers than there used to be, and there are more black fathers involved than generations to pass. And we're demanding to be a part of our children's lives, not only because we want to be there for the moments and the glory and the sentiments, but we also understand our importance, our role in the raising and the rearing of the children, especially boys. But I won't even say especially, because in a different sort of way, girls need us very badly. When you're being raised, if you're a woman and you're being raised without a father, the outcomes that you will get from your journey through this life will be different than those that did have their fathers. in some sort of way. You will be lacking something. Yin and yang is a thing. It is a real concept. You need two halves. You need negative and positive energy. You need feminine and the masculine. And if you're lacking one or the other, you will suffer the consequences due to that. As men, we want to be in our kids' lives now. When I take my kids to the bounce places, Sky Zone or whatever you want to call them, when we go out to the stores, I see a lot of fathers with their kids, and they're there and they're involved. They're even on the trampolines with their kids. They're playing basketball at the park with their kids. When I go up to the school, when I go on field trips, me and the fathers have built a bond. Quick story though, I was feeling sort of like maybe I'm goofy for caring about this sort of like community that I thought that I was a part of in my children's school, because I'm like, I have this sense of community when I'm here because the mothers and fathers are there and I'm there with my kids. And then we all have sort of built a bond over the years because our kids are pretty much all in the same classes, throughout all of these school years. So I kind of know some of the parents for like 3-4 years now. And I was like, maybe I'm the only one that feel like this, because I don't really get that same sort of reciprocation from them. They don't really seem to be excited to see me, although I am excited to see them. Right. But then one day I'm on a field trip. I think we were at a pumpkin patch / apple orchard. One of the fathers walked up to me and he was like, man, I love this school. And I'm like, yeah, me too. He was like, yeah, because it's like we can all count on each other to take care of our kids when we out on these field trips. And I know you're going to look out for my kids and I'm going to look out for yours. And my son had got some dust or dirt in his eye or something. And another guy had grabbed my son and sort of like blew the stuff out of his eye. They were up on top of like a stack of hay. And I was like, I didn't say anything, but I was sort of like in the moment, like I really like this feeling, being a part of something. And then for him to say that, we were watching it happen, and he said that to me, like I love this school because it's like it's a community, and all the parents chip in, we all go to the field trips, and we all protect these kids. And that was like confirmation that what I felt was real. We just don't express it or share it. As a man, I sort of hold those sort of feelings close to my chest because I don't want to come off as vulnerable or weak. It's just a reality of how men sort of move amongst each other, especially. But anyway, getting back to the original point, this guy mentioned that he likes spending time with his kids, and this job is pretty much preventing him from doing that, while the people that he's working for get to dole their time out however they really want to. They get to spend time with the people that they love whenever they want. And in order to get that sort of freedom, you have to have the money to allow for that amount of time, for the freedom, for the use of your time. When I had my first son, 2017, August, he was born. I was working night shifts. As a man, for paternity leave, you only get 2 weeks, which at my job didn't equate to anything but 7 days total. And then, 7 work days plus the 7 off days that I would have had naturally equated to me having 2 weeks off. Went back to work 2 weeks later in September and was killing myself, absolutely killing myself. And this was the first time I had a kid. Obviously, this was my first son. So this is the first time I had a kid, and also had to balance that with a career or a job or whatever. I had never felt that before. So this is my first time embarking on this journey, taking on this task of balancing parenthood with, providing, that is a art that people don't really talk about a lot. And I noticed very quickly that if I was to continue doing it the way that I was doing it, it was going to kill me very quickly. I would go to work. I used to work nights, so I would work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I would get off of work 7 a.m., drive home. It would take me about 15, 20 minutes to get home. 7:20, I'm walking through the door, and then I'm taking a baby so that their mother, it wasn't happening in the beginning because she was on maternity leave. But once she ended up having to go back to work because they literally told her if she doesn't come back, they'll fire her. The exchange became, as soon as I walked through the door, I would take a baby. She would try her best to have the baby sleep by the time I got home so that I could come home and maybe get a nap. And she would get ready and she would leave to go out to get to work at 8:30, 9 o'clock or whatever it was. So there was only a short window of time that we would see each other, be able to spend time together in the house as a family. And now I'm back, she's back to work or I'm back to work. We did this for all of let me think. She went back to work after 6 weeks. So that had to be October, maybe the beginning of November, something like that. So I ended up doing that sort of thing where I was coming home, taking the baby, and trying to get a nap in. Now, my son at this time, he's only 3, 4, 5 months old. He's not sleeping very much. He would sleep for an hour, hour and a half, wake up crying for a bottle, would need his diaper changed, and he would go back to sleep. And it was like a revolving door of that cycle every 2 hours. Hour, hour and a half of sleep, wake up, eat, change diaper, go back to sleep. All over again. All day, all day, all day. So when I'm home, I come home at 7 a.m., I try to sleep because I got to go back to work 7 p.m. Trying to sleep, but the baby's waking up every hour and a half, every hour, every other hour. It's not allowing me to get any REM sleep. I'm not getting any actual rejuvenating sleep. It's killing me, and it's compounding because every day is worse than the last because I'm going to work with even less sleep, even less sanity, and I'm going to work on this compounding sleep deprivation. It was killing me. I made it all the way to about February of 2018. And I decided that day, one of those days in that month, that I can't do it anymore. I'm done. I'm not doing it. And there was a lot of things that sort of brought me to that place. I hated my job. I hated the people at my job. I hated the politics of my job. I hated the way that they were trying to treat me at the job. It's another story for another day. But there was a lot of things going on professionally with me that made me exhausted at work. Then I would come home, not get sleep, taking care of this baby that's now he's 7 years old, sitting in this room next to me. But it was tough. And I quit. And the reason that I quit was because I decided that this life is not the sort of life that I wanted for me or my children. I did not want to have to split my time between being able to be there for my children and being at work with these folks that I can't stand, all for the sake of a measly few $100s a week. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to justify that. So I quit. And I told myself then that I was going to do what I wanted to do, and that's engineering. Now, I did this with help on a lot of different fronts. A cousin, a friend, my baby mama approved it and sort of helped me transition. I had family that kind of stood up for me and made this transition easier in a lot of different ways. But it was all motivated by the fact that I didn't want to be the father that wasn't there. I didn't want to be the father that just came home and went to sleep and went back to work every day. I didn't want to be the father that was sort of remote or absent. I wanted to be there, especially because I have a son. 2 months after I quit my job, we get pregnant again with my second son, who is 6 years old, sitting in this room next to me. And I knew that, one, I had a hard road ahead of me, but two, I made the right decision because the way that I was able to be instrumental in their development from day one, from helping to deliver both of my sons in, like, I'm pulling the baby out of the vagina, I'm cutting umbilical cords, and I'm holding them seconds after they were born, all the way to them being with me right now, 7, 8 years later almost, and me being there every step of the way. I know I made the right decision. This life has not been easy. I jumped off the ledge. I'm still struggling financially, but I am comfortable. I'm good. You know, I have to figure it out every month, but I'm doing that. And I made that sacrifice. I put myself in this extremely uncomfortable position as a man, as a human being, so that they could get the proper development that I thought that they needed, that I know that they needed. I needed my sons to have a present male figure to teach them the do's and the don'ts, the wrongs and the rights, how to navigate certain social instances, how to deal with girls, how to deal with fights, how to love and respect each other as brothers, which is something that we just went through moments ago. I had to cuss my oldest son out. And I wouldn't have been able to do that going to bury myself in the job that I hated. I still work. I go to the studio, except now I'm able to do that with them because I work on my terms. I was in the studio today, 4-hour session. My kids were literally on one of the songs that we recorded. They were in the next room. My man said one of my clients said he needed some voices on the song. I recorded my kids, put them in the song. They're in the next room, you know, and I get to bring them with me, ensure their protection, show them what it looks like to run a business and work for yourself, expose them to something other than a 9-to-5. And I get to do it all mostly on my terms. So I understand what this man is saying. If you understand what we're saying, you know, tell your story in the comments, leave a like, whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you for listening. This is strange, man. I'm going to go get my camera in the morning and I got some more content to do. Holla at me, dog.